Hello, my beautiful yogis. Nice to have you here today. Today I'm going to focus on grounding. Grounding connects us to the present moment. And in this moment, I'm going to focus on letting go of my plans for the day, judgment, worry, and regret to get in touch with me and my body. So today I'm going to start sitting up nice and tall on my mat. I'm going to move the flesh out from underneath my sit bones so my sit bones are grounded firmly into the mat. My shoulders are stacked over my sit bones. My palms rest comfortably on my thighs or knees. I'm sitting up nice and tall. And then I'll just begin by closing my eyes or softening my gaze. Observing my natural breath as it comes in and out of the body. Filling my belly and chest as I inhale. And feeling the cool breeze across my nostrils as I exhale. Settling in. And I'll begin inhaling through the nose to a count of 4 or 5. And then exhaling back out through the nostrils, elongating my exhale to a count of 5 or 6. So it'll look something like this. Inhale, 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then continue cultivating my breath. And then return to my natural breathing. My intention for today is to feel grounded, being present in this moment, and enjoying all that my body and breath have to offer. And then on my next inhale, I'll open my eyes. Just gently reawakening my sight. And then I'll begin with a little side stretching. So I'm going to take my left hand down to the mat. Right hand's going to come up and over. And then exhaling, releasing the right. And inhale, left hand comes over. And then just following the full length of my breath. Finding a little stretch on the side body as I sway side to side. Lingering in any spaces that feel like they need a little extra time. And I'll just do one more to each side. And then come back to upright. I'll switch the crossing of my legs. Just letting them rest one in front of the other. And then I'll start by elongating the spine, sitting up nice and tall. And then on an exhale, my left hand will turn away from me, pointing towards the wall behind me. My right hand will come over the top of the knee, and I'm going to twist from the bottom rib. Looking over to the left or over my left shoulder. Continuing to breathe. Even here in my twist. Then on my next exhale, I'll gently release back through center. Inhale deeply here. Then exhale, turning to the opposite side. Left hand is on top of the right knee. Right hand is turning away, pointing towards the wall behind me. Gaze is over to the right or over my right shoulder. Adding in that little stretch into the neck. And on my next exhale, I'll gently release, coming back around to center. And then I'm going to just roll through my knees and come around to cat-cow. So my hands are underneath my shoulders. My knees are underneath my hips or right behind. My pointer fingers are forward or slightly turned out. And then I'll just begin in my cat and cow, tucking my chin to my chest, tucking my tailbone under, sending the back of the spine up towards the ceiling on an inhale or exhale. And then I'll release the belly button down to the floor, flip the tailbone up, press through the hands and lift my gaze. And then I'll continue to move through my cat and cow, following the full length of my inhales and exhales. And then after my cow pose here, I'll move around any way that feels good to my spine. For me, that means some big barrel rolls, really getting the shoulders on board. And making sure that I go into the opposite direction as well. Staying connected to the breath. Feeling grounded through my hands and knees, focusing on all my body's movement and my breath. I'll wag my tail a little bit here, drawing my hip up towards my ribs. And then finally I'll make some circles around my wrists and knees. And then I'll come back to stillness and reverse into the opposite direction. And then coming back to tabletop. On the exhale, I'll extend my right heel out long onto the mat, finding a little stretch into the calf. pressing firmly through the ball of the foot, sending the heel towards the wall behind me, gripping the mat firmly with my fingertips, and backs of the knuckles. Then on my next exhale, I'll release the right knee down, and inhale, send the left heel out. And then I'll exhale, release the left knee back down to the mat. Coming into a little thread the needle here. On my inhale, I'm going to take my left fingertips and open up throughout the chest. And then exhale, take my left hand in between my right wrist and knee, bringing the left shoulder down to the mat. Right shoulder can fold in towards the inner eye at the elbow, or I can press my fingertips into the floor mat and open up just a little bit, letting that right elbow come up towards the ceiling. And then to keep my hips parallel to the mat, I'm going to press them just gently over to the left, since I'm reaching to the right side. And then I come back to the breath. And then on my next inhale, I'll press firmly through the right fingertips, open the chest back up, and then exhale, release the left hand down. On my next inhale, I'll reach my right fingertips up towards the ceiling, and then exhale, take that right hand and thread it through, bringing my opposite shoulder down to the mat. I'll prong my left fingertips and press my hips over to the right, keeping them parallel. And breathe. And then on my next inhale, I'll press through the left fingertips, reach my right hand up towards the ceiling, big opening stretch. And then exhale, release the right hand back down to the mat. Setting up for a little puppy pose here. I'll walk my knees back just a little bit. Walk my hands forward and bring my chest down to the mat, keeping my hips stacked over my knees as best as possible. Hands are gripping firmly into the mat, and I can allow my forehead to come down and rest. For a little puppy pose here. And then on my next exhale, I'll take my knees wide, big toes will come together, and I'll slide, clawing the mat as I settle into my child's pose. My hands are long, pronging the fingertips into the mat, drawing my shoulders away from my ears, hugging the bottoms of my shoulder blades together, keeping my head in line with the spine, finding length. And breathing. On my next inhale, I'll press the fingers and backs of the knuckles into the mat, tuck my toes, and exhale, press back down dog.
Oh, this down dog feels nice. I like to press one heel down towards the mat and then the other, just getting a little stretch down the back of my hamstrings and calves. And then I'll begin settling into my dog here, walking my feet about hip distance apart. My palms are pressing firmly into the mat, grounding down the backs of the knuckles and the fingertips, finding a little lift to where the bottom of the palm meets the wrist. I'm allowing my chest to reach down towards the floor, hugging the bottoms of my shoulder blades, but puffing up the backs of my kidneys. And breathing. And then on my next inhale, I'll step my left foot gently in towards midline. Right heel reaches up for the ceiling for three-legged dog. And I'll exhale, bend the knee, open the hip, get a nice big stretch while pressing firmly through both hands, keeping my shoulders as parallel to the floor as possible. And then exhale, close the hip, release the foot, stepping that foot in just a little bit towards midline, and then inhale, left leg lifts, three-legged dog. Exhale, bend the knee and open the hip, pressing firmly through my hands. Then on my next exhale, I'll close the hip, release the left foot back down to the mat, coming back into my down dog. On the next inhale, I'll begin to tiptoe up towards the front of the mat, finding a nice stretch down the back of my hamstrings and calves, taking a big bend into my knees, letting the top of my torso rest out over the tops of my thighs, keeping some weight into my fingertips and releasing the tension from my head, neck, and shoulders. And then I'll interlace my arms here. And for a little ragdoll and sway side to side. Feeling grounded here by pressing firmly through the feet. Connecting to my breath. And allowing my upper torso to relax. And then on my next exhale, I'll release my hands down towards the floor. Inhale, halfway lift. Elongating my spine, drawing the crown of my head forward. And then exhale, release. And I'll inhale, let the fingertips trace the fronts of my shins as I slowly round all the way up to standing, reaching my hands up and over, big full body stretch. And exhale, hands come to heart center. And I'll release my hands down by my sides for mountain pose. Grounding down my feet, feeling the earth press away. Feeling my shoulders relax away from my ears. My fingertips reach down towards the floor. Shoulders stacked over hips and hips stacked over ankles. Finding that peace and presence in my body.
feel a little bit the gentle sway as I inhale and exhale throughout my body. And then on the next inhale, I'll reach my hands up. And exhale, swan dive forward, forward fold. Inhale, I'll halfway lift. And exhale, fold. Plant my hands, step back through my plank pose. And on an exhale, I'll lower all the way down, nice and slow, chaturanga. Inhaling into cobra. And then up dog. Broadening across the collarbones, pressing firmly through the tops of my feet. And then exhale, press back, down dog. On my inhale, I'll saunter nice and slow up to the front of my mat, finding my forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. And then exhaling on my forward fold. Then on my inhale, root down, rise up. And exhale, hands to heart center. Inhale, I'll reach up. And exhale, swan dive forward, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. And exhale, fold. Plant my hands. Step back once again through my plank pose. And exhale, chaturanga. Inhaling into cobra or up dog. And then I'll exhale, press back, down dog. On my next inhale, I'm going to float up to the front of my mat and forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. And exhale, fold. Root down, rise, up to standing. And exhale, hands to heart center. On my next exhale, I'm going to step my right foot back, setting up for my high lunge. Making sure my pinky toe is grounded in the back. Pressing firmly through the ball of the foot. Left knee is over the left ankle and in line with the second and third toes. My hips are forward. I'm engaging my thighs, squeezing them in towards midline and front and back. And when I'm ready, I'll inhale. Reach the fingertips up towards the ceiling. Core is engaged. Palms are facing each other. For high lunge. And breathe. Feeling myself grounded here. Breathing into my belly, filling up my lungs, and exhaling, release. On the next exhale, my hands come together at heart center. And I'm going to twist over to the left, bringing my right tricep to the top of my left thigh, pressing my palms together and opening up my chest towards the back wall. On the next inhale, I'll rise, pressing firmly through the lead foot, reaching my hands up and over. And then exhale out long over the lead toes, reaching my fingertips all the way down to the mat.
My left foot sweeps back, three-legged dog, and down dog. Inhaling in through my plank pose. And exhale, chaturanga. Inhaling into cobra. And exhale, press back, down dog. On my next inhale, I'll float to the front of the mat, finding my forward fold. Inhaling, halfway lift. And exhale, back, forward fold. Root down, rise to standing. And exhale, hands come to heart center. On my next exhale, stepping back with the left foot. Setting up my high lunge on the opposite side. Pressing firmly through my back pinky toe. Right knee over the right ankle. Standing up nice and tall. Engaging my core. And reaching my hands up and over. Palms facing each other for high lunge. Pressing firmly through my big toe mounds. Engaging my inner thighs and core and pelvic floor. And then on the next exhale, my hands will come to heart center, and I'll twist from the bottom rib over to the right. Finding my high lunge twist here, pressing my palms firmly together. And then inhaling back to center, reaching my fingertips up and over. And exhale out long. Releasing my hands to the floor, sweeping my right foot back, three-legged dog, and down dog. On my next inhale, inhale through plank pose, and exhale, chaturanga. Inhaling into my cobra, and exhale, pressing back, down dog. On my next inhale, I'll float to the front of the mat, finding my forward fold. Inhaling, halfway lift. And exhaling, forward fold. Rooting down, rise up. And exhale, hands to heart center. Building on here, I am stepping back into my high lunge. Building from my foundation up and then inhaling my hands up and over. Staying in touch with my breath and my body. Allowing my mind the freedom to just be here in this moment. And then exhaling, hands from the heart center, and I'll twist over to the left. Inhaling, coming back into my high lunge. And exhale, stepping the back foot up so the full palm of the foot is planted into the mat. Grounding down from the big toe mound all the way to the heel. My right toes are facing the front right corner of the mat for my warrior one.
exhale, I'll reach my fingertips for the front and back wall. Turn my right foot so it's parallel to the back of the mat. For warrior two, fingertips are reaching long, but shoulder blades are hugging. And my gaze is over my left fingertips. On my next exhale, I'll windmill the hands down. Sweep the left foot back, three-legged dog, and down dog. Inhaling, coming forward through my plank pose. Exhaling, chaturanga. Inhaling into cobra. And exhaling, pressing back, down dog. On my next inhale, I'll float to the front of the mat, finding my forward fold. Inhaling, halfway lift. And exhale, forward fold. Root down, rising up. And exhale, hands to heart center. On my next exhale, I'll step the left foot back, setting up my high lunge on the opposite side. Inhaling my hands up when I feel strong and sturdy. On my next exhale, my hands come to heart center, and I twist over to the right. Bringing the back of my left tricep to the top of my right thigh, pressing my palms firmly together. And then on the next inhale, I'll rise back into my high lunge. And exhale, step the back foot up for warrior one. So my left toes are facing the front left corner of the mat. My right knee is over the right ankle and in line with the second and third toes. My core is engaged. Thighs are engaged. And then following my next exhale, I'll open up warrior two. Fingertips reaching in opposite directions. Shoulder blades are hugging and pulling away from the ears. Back leg of the foot is parallel to the back of the mat. Right knee is remained over the right ankle and in line with the second and third toe. And then finding my breath. And then on my next exhale, windmilling my hands down. Sweeping the right foot back, three-legged dog, and down dog. Inhaling in through my plank pose. And exhale, chaturanga. Inhaling in to my cobra. And exhaling, press back, down dog. Inhaling, floating to the front of the mat, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. And I'll exhale, fold. Rooting down to rise up. And then exhaling my hands to heart center. Building on one more time here. I'll step back with the right foot into my high lunge. ensure my foundation, that I'm grounded into my mat. And then inhaling my hands up and overhead. On my next exhale, my hands will come to heart center and I'll twist over to the left. And then I'll inhale back into my high lunge. And exhale out, warrior one. On my next exhale, I'll open up warrior two. Outside blade of the foot is parallel to the back of the mat. Left knee is over the left ankle. Fingertips reaching long, yet the shoulder blades are hugging. On my next exhale, I'm going to bring my lead forearm to the top of my lead thigh as if I had a serving tray in my hand. I'm going to take the back hand and reach it up and over so my bicep comes next to the ear. My fingertips are reaching long. So I have one long line from my fingertips to the outside blade of my right foot, making a nice right triangle for my side angle. And then breathing. And then on the next exhale, I'm going to take my top hand and place it on my back thigh. Lead leg stays where it's at. Left fingertips reach and scoop the sky for reverse warrior. And then my gaze is up towards the ceiling. And I come back to my breath. And then on an exhale, I'll windmill the hands down. Sweep the left foot back, three-legged dog, and down dog. On an inhale, I'll come forward through my plank pose. And exhale through chaturanga. Inhaling in the right up dog here. Broadening across my collarbones, lifting my gaze, and pressing firmly through the tops of my feet. And then on an exhale, I'll press back into my down dog. And then inhale, float to the front of the mat. Finding my forward fold. Inhaling, halfway lift. And exhaling, forward fold. Root down, rising up. And exhaling, my hands to heart center. On my next exhale, I'll step my left foot back, setting up my high lunge for the last time on the opposite side. Inhaling, my hands up when I am grounded. And then exhaling, bringing my hands to heart center and moving into my twist. On my next inhale, my hands come back to heart center and reach up and over. Exhaling, stepping into my warrior one. Strong warrior, pressing through both big toe mounds, engaging my core, pulling my thighs in towards each other. strong fingertips, shoulder blades hugging, gaze over my lead fingertips. Back blade of the foot is grounded. On the next exhale, my lead forearm will come down to the top of my lead thigh as if I'm holding my serving platter. Pulling my shoulder away from the ear, my top hand comes up and over. One nice long line from fingertip to outside blade of the foot. And then on my inhale, my top hand will come to my back leg. Lead fingertips reach out and scoop the sky for reverse warrior. And then on an exhale, I'll windmill the hands down. Sweep the right leg back, three-legged dog, and down dog. Finding my last plank pose here. Chaturanga. And up dog. Exhaling out. Down dog. On my next inhale, I'll float to the front of the mat. Finding my forward fold. Inhaling, halfway lift. And exhaling, forward fold. Rooting down, rising up. Last big full body stretch while standing. And exhaling, my hands to heart center. Taking a breath here in mountain pose. Finding some steadiness inside the body. And then coming into my tree pose. So I'll bring my weight over to the left leg. I can either start with my foot here onto the mat, big toes, mound, ball of the foot pressing into the mat, the calf, or I like to bring my foot all the way to the inner thigh, and I'm pressing my foot into the thigh, and my thigh resists, helping this knee flare out, strong, grounded, beautiful tree, and then I'll allow it to grow. I can even add a little wind to my tree here. And then exhale, release, getting a little extension through the heel as I lower down, transferring my weight over to the opposite side. Left foot repeats wherever it did before. So I'm placing my palm of my foot onto my inner thigh, pressing into my thigh resists, growing strong throughout my spine. And then inhaling up, reaching my arms long for my big beautiful tree, grounded firmly throughout its roots. Whew. Don't worry, it's just a little wind. And then exhaling, finding that extension on the opposite side, and releasing. And I'm going to take my feet a little bit wider than hip distance apart, turning my toes out. And I'm going to have a seat in my Malasana. Bringing the insides, and bringing the Backs of the triceps to the insides of the thighs, pressing the palms together and growing long throughout my spine. Coming back to my breath. And then on my next exhale, I'll release the hands down towards the floor and have a seat. Letting my legs come out long in front of me. Moving anything away from my sit bones, being grounded firmly into the mat. Sitting up nice and tall. I'm going to take my fingers and turn my fingers towards the back wall. So I'm long throughout the spine, setting up for my staff pose here. And then on my next exhale, I'll begin walking my hands forward, keeping my spine as long as possible. And then when I've found my end point, where my spine will stay long no longer, I'll roll out over the tops of my thighs. My hands can come to my shins. Today I'm going to bring my hands to the outside blades of the feet, letting my thumbs come to the second or third toe, and then resting my head and breathing. My toes are engaged, pulling back towards the kneecaps. And then on an inhale, I'll release my feet and walk my hands back up my legs. And I'll walk my feet in towards my bottom. Take a hold of the backs of my hamstrings. And I'm going to allow my spine to round as I tuck my tailbone under, tuck my chin, and slowly lower, as if each vertebrae was going to touch the floor individually, all the way down to the mat. That feels good. And then on an inhale, I'll draw my knees in towards the chest. And gently allow them to go over to the left side. And now my right shoulder is lifted, so I'm going to press my triceps into the mat, lifting my chest, and just adjusting it ever so slightly so it stays parallel to the floor. I'm going to allow my left hand to rest on top of my thighs. My right arm is going to go out into cactus, and my gaze is going to turn over to the right fingertips. Just settling into a little gentle twist. And remembering to breathe. Allowing my full body to be grounded into the mat. Settling in, acknowledging my breath. And then on my next inhale, I'll lift my right leg, and my left will follow. Shifting back to center, hugging my knees in one more time here, and then allowing them to go over to the opposite side. My left arm will go out in cactus. My right hand will rest atop my thighs. After adjusting my shoulders, and then turning my gaze over to the left.
next inhale, I'll gently release my top leg, lift my left leg, my right will follow, adjusting back to center. And then both palms of the feet will come back to the mat. I'm going to let my left leg go long and hug my right knee in towards the chest. Oh, just giving it a little hug here. And then on an exhale, I'm going to move my hands and interlace them behind my right hamstring as I extend my right heel up towards the ceiling. And I'm pressing my hamstring into my hands and my hands resist. My toes are engaged on both feet, pulling them back towards the kneecap. And then on my next exhale, I'm going to draw my left heel in and cross my right ankle over the top of my left thigh and release my hands. Now some days I pause here, pressing my ankle into the top of the thigh, and this is good enough. But today I'm going to lift my left foot away from the mat, interlace my hands behind my left thigh, and then I'm pulling my left thigh in and pressing my right ankle out. So I'll find a little flare throughout the right knee, and then I'm going to use my right elbow to press gently through the center of my right thigh, avoiding the knee so I don't cause it any kind of damage or pain. And then I'll leave my head, neck, and shoulders onto the mat, and just breathe into this nice stretch. And then on my next exhale, I'll release the hands, letting the left foot come back down to the mat. Uncross the right leg, and I'm back where I started. And so I'll extend my right leg out long onto the mat and begin recreating this sequence on the opposite side, hugging the left knee in towards the chest, giving it a nice little hug. And then on my exhale, I'll move my fingers, interlacing them behind my right thigh and extend my left thigh and extend my left heel up towards the ceiling, pressing my hamstring into my hands and my hands resist. Little single leg stretch. This is actually the same stretch I did coming out of my tree pose where I elongated my heel. I'm just now on my back. And then on my next exhale, I'll bend my right foot, pressing the palm of the foot firmly into the mat, and take my left ankle over the top of my right thigh. Pressing my ankle into the top of my thigh, and then I'll lift my right foot away from the mat, interlace my hands, and I'll begin my push-pull. So I'm pulling my right knee in, pressing firmly with my left ankle out, and then I'm going to use my left elbow gently into the center of my left thigh. And then I'll come back to my breath. And then on my next exhale, I'll gently release my hands, release my right foot down to the mat, and the left will follow. And then from here, I'll just elongate both legs out onto the mat. Reach my arms up and over, interlocking my thumbs together. And then I'll point my toes, reach my fingertips, nice, big, full body stretch. And then on the exhale, I'll release both hands down to the mat. letting my palms turn up towards the ceiling, tucking my shoulder blades underneath, and letting my feet fall to either side. Adjusting my head so I find that one little sweet spot that it's comfortable to lie out onto. And then as I return back to my natural breath, I'll feel myself be heavy and grounded onto the mat, releasing any tension from my big toes and feet, relaxing my shins and calves, releasing any remaining tension from my quadriceps and hamstrings, feeling my hips settle and be heavy, feeling my hands fall open, my shoulders to relax, my chest and torso to release any remaining tension. Relaxing my neck and throat and all the small muscles of my face, allowing my brows to part, and finally my jaw to open just slightly, my tongue to fall to the back of my throat. And spend these next few minutes enjoying my Savasana. curling everything in and rolling to one side. Using my arm as a pillow. And then pressing myself back up to seated.
I'm thankful for this practice of grounding, finding this time to be present in this moment and let go all of my plans, judgments, worries, regrets, anything that was holding me back from being in touch with me, myself, my body. Thank you for joining me in my practice today. Namaste.